Hey everyone, it's me, Gadget again, and I've got another drawing for you. This is something I've been working on for the last couple of days. This is me drawing an OC character I created. And this is unusual for me because I'm not using any references for this one. I'm kind of trying to put all my knowledge to the test. So here you can see me kind of creating a roughly boxed out frame of the character. She's... The box out is actually kind of wrong here, but what I'm trying to do is kind of an action pose, with it having kind of one hand raised up off the other side of the screen, and then one hand kind of in a fist. And I picked up this technique, I think it was from a book actually, of doing kind of 3D shapes to try and kind of indicate the 3D-ness of a person. And what I'm doing here, so I did the kind of the rough box out, and then I'm trying to kind of build out the proportions of the character. And you'll see soon enough that I actually do get her proportions wrong. When I come back and do the second session of this, I actually kind of fix the shape of her body. But at the minute, it's just kind of getting all the lines down and getting a rough human shape. I spent a lot of time, I'm terrible at hands still. So I deliberately kind of wanted to have her having kind of a clenched fist, so I could kind of practice drawing fists. And there was a lot of me kind of making a fist with my own hand and trying to kind of judge it up, and then you got the kind of the palm there, and then we've got I can't remember, I think it's called like force perspective on the forearm. Foreshortening, that's it. That's what we call it in our terms. On the forearm, and then just kind of building out the structure of the body. Boobs. Fucking terrible at boobs, and this is kind of the whole reason that I wanted to draw a female character. This OC is called RE312, and she's supposed to be like a kind of futuristic combat cyborgy kind of thing. It's kind of a really basic reason, but I didn't really have a clear idea on what I wanted in an OC, and the first day I started this challenge, so 1st of January this year, I just kind of drew. I found a pose from a posable figure, and I traced it. And that became my first drawing, and it became RE312. I'd also just finished playing the game Signalis, so I was kind of into the kind of hardcore kind of robot thing going on. Here I'm just kind of experimenting, trying to get the face shape right. I haven't really settled on a style for doing faces. But this seems alright for what it is. I wasn't 100% happy with it, but yeah, it kind of got me there. Here I'm just kind of pasting in the outline of the hair over the skull, and you can see I'm trying to fix her eyes. Perspective eyes are difficult. Oh yeah, I just opened up Spotify there for a different podcast. Yeah, getting eyes in perspective when the face is not looking kind of like dead center has been something ever since I started drawing I've struggled with. And I know the eye shape is super stylized here, but it is what it is. I'll get better at them over time. So here I'm kind of moving on to inking. I was kind of confident with the shape of the body, and it wasn't until I kind of looked like today, so the day after doing this bit of the drawing, I realized kind of proportions were wrong, and I kind of got my girlfriend to help me get the perspective right. Use as much help as you can. Instantly, she's not going to be naked. She is going to be clothed. I'm just kind of like drawing the body as if she were nude right now, just to get the proportions right. The outfit that she wears is reasonably skin tight, but no, she is dressed. Then yeah, getting the kind of the jawline in, I kind of softened up her chin a bit, and then when it gets to the eyes, so you just get a kind of bit of eyeliner there. I don't fully draw in the outline for the eyes. I think it's an anime thing actually. I think it kind of generally looks better when you don't have like a full outline of the eye. These boobs are so wrong. I do correct them on the next bit of the drawing, but yeah, I kind of wrestled a while trying to get it right. And then the other mistake that I made is that her hips are too low, so she basically has a very long body right now. So what I end up doing at the start of the next bit of the drawing, when I move to the day 2 session, is kind of squashing her up a little bit and giving her a bit more of a realistic proportion. So yeah, drawing in the outline for the hair, I'm just tracing over what I've already done and kind of making refinements as I go. But yeah, I like her face. I like how I've struggled traditionally with hair as well, kind of getting it to look realistic. But you know, I'm not going for realism here. I'm going from a kind of quasi-animated, slightly anime style. I kind of realize here her arm is a bit too long, so I kind of pull it back. To the joy of doing this digitally. It's still not right, but I was getting tired by this point. So we're about to move on to the next one, to the next day. So we come into it here, and you see the first thing I do is I just grab those hips and just lift them up. And then get the pen out and start kind of correcting it. I give her kind of like a sweep down as if she's kind of stood it, with putting her legs into an action pose, even though you can't really see them. And then kind of trying to get the definition right, so like where the kind of the line of the tops of her legs would meet her hips. And then desperately trying to rub out the pen. Yeah, you see that looks much more realistic proportion. And this is the point where I'm kind of asking my girlfriend for a little bit of help, like how do I get the boobs right? So kind of, I had them far too high up. I draw them like a man draws them, so I'm trying to work it out. I'm trying to get better. I say I'm not good at them, so it's a case of trying to work it out, and then trying to give a bit more realistic proportions. If you go onto my Twitter and look at the first day's image, she's got comically large breasts, because that's just what I traced from the doll I was using. And this is kind of me attempting just to try and get a bit more realistic proportion, get it more looking like a human. And I think that looks more human, even though she's supposed to be a combat android, but I also kind of don't want her to be comically busty. So now I'm kind of drawing in the edges of her hands, getting the edges of her outfit. Again, a lot of me looking at my own knuckles to see how knuckles should actually sit on a person, because why not use yourself? So yeah, you can see I kind of beef out her arm a little bit, because it was weirdly skinny. Try and get the line of the two pieces of her outfit better. And look at that, naming my layers. I've improved from last time. I've improved. So the outfit that she wears is blue and black. So this looks self-defeating right now, but yeah, this is kind of me getting the base layers of colour in. Using the hard round brush in Photoshop, which I just love for colouring in. I'm leaving the line work a bit messy because I just quite like that in the style. He says it's not me being lazy, but you know, it's something when I see it in comic books or kind of artwork, I quite like the kind of edges and lines to be a little bit messy. It's just something that appeals to me. So yeah, it's getting the various kind of little bits of her outfit in place. So kind of segments between what would be armor. So then we get the blue of the suit, trying to find the right color blue. And I know I could just like select the area and fill it, but I quite like learning how to draw within the lines. I was terrible at it as a child. So this kind of slightly longer process of kind of getting everything in, erasing, and then, you know, drop to a smaller brush and do it properly. I like it. It's very zen. I've had a stressful week this week, so this is kind of exactly what I needed. A little bit of zen drawing time. So yeah, just filling in the edges. Then we go for the skin colour. And at first I didn't like it. She looked a little bit fake tanned. Don't trust the first result you get on Google when you look for a hex code. This skin tone I much preferred. And I'm being messy here because the hair layer is going to go over the top of that, so I'm not too bothered about staying within the lines because the hair is going to cover it over. Here I'm a little bit more bothered about staying within the lines. So this is the tricky bit. This is the getting the white highlight. So the idea is the kind of the black part of our suit is supposed to be like almost like a PVC or a leather effect. So the way you're going to see the details is from kind of light reflections on there. I also realized I was on the wrong bloody layer, but hey ho. So I'm just kind of drawing in details, highlights where light would be kind of hitting and reflecting on her. again, focusing far too much on the boobs. And you see, you get that just like wonderful contrast with the black and the white on there. And then, yeah, just kind of giving her just general shape and a bit of depth using the highlights. And then here, the way I designed this suit that she's wearing is it kind of has this kind of almost armoured ribbing in the blue bit. Because like I said, she's supposed to be like a kind of a combat unit. So it's a bit of a darker blue, but it's kind of protecting the bits around there, but also kind of almost giving like an anatomical side to it. Kind of, you know, following musculature slightly. At least that's how I see it. And in a future iteration of this, I might make that kind of like neon or kind of glowing a bit. And then just a bit of shadow on the side, again, just for depth. You know, like a little bit of shadow. Everyone likes a little bit of shadow. I probably should have used a slightly smaller brush for this, but, you know, experimentation works. Just assuming that the light is kind of like to the top right of the picture. So light's kind of coming down on her. Next up was her hair, I think. Yeah. So she's blonde. And this was just taking a blonde base and doing this in... This is kind of sort of a little bit like the more cheap anime style of where you have kind of one base color, then you just kind of highlight strands of the hair. So yeah, it was all about kind of getting it filled in with the light yellow color, and then I decided to go darker. So then I took a darker color for the actual. It was more lowlights and highlights, but basically to imply the strands of the hair. It took me a couple of goes to get the right colours. I wasn't happy with it initially. It looked very yellow, so I went for a kind of more of a brown. And this again just gives kind of structure to the hair and just implies where it's flowing. Again, I'm not great at hair, so I think I did alright with it. When you draw the opacity down, it looks a bit better. And then there was some kind of highlights as well with a kind of like an off-white, just to imply where light might be shining on it. Not a lot of it. Then we move on to the eyes, so it's a bit of an off-white for the eye colour. And then the irises, which were... I kind of had them as kind of a luminous blue colour. Almost an ultramarine blue. Then I had to go back to the inking brush to, you know, just get the pupils in place. And I'm terrible at keeping pupils in line. You also I like to put a bit of shadow under the top eyelids. And then obviously just a bit of shine on the eyes. And then it's all about the skin shadows. Now this, I had to have a couple of stabs this one. I definitely used the wrong brush the first time. Normally what I do is I just take a black and then I put the opacity right down. And then I tried to do that thing that a lot of anime does where you kind of shadow the nose, but I didn't really like the look of it when I kind of got it done. I think maybe because I'd made the black outline of the nose a little bit too sharp or a bit too heavy. But yeah, we're almost done here actually. We're just getting the shadows in. And we're pretty much there. Yeah, there's not really much more to say about it. I really like this character that I've created. We create a background. I just use a bit of a fire brush and just kind of like fill it out there because I didn't really know what to actually put as a background. I'm terrible. Again, my imagination doesn't extend to backgrounds, but yeah, here it is. We're going to sign it, and it's done. There we go. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the second video and kind of you understood my ramblings of how I explained how I did this picture. I know this is kind of a bit unusual for me, like I haven't done this kind of thing much before, but I'll be doing some more on this one. My next couple of drawings are going to be just exercises, so after this I've got some ideas of where I'm going to go with it. But thank you for watching, hit the like and subscribe button if you're enjoying this, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.